The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody, welcome to Tot&HAM, the weekly show where James and I discuss Tottenham and West Ham in a little bit more detail. I'm Suj, obviously. This is PlanetFPL, and...
I'm James.
You are. I introduced you a little bit. James is Tottenham, because he's got his Ledley King t-shirt on.
Yeah, remembering those were the days, my friend.
The good old days, hey, when you guys could defend. Davinson Sanchez is getting better.
The best partnership we've had is Alderweireld and Vertonghen. It's sort of between 15 and 17/18.
So, Tottenham, this weekend, we lost to Sheffield United 1-0. You lost to Liverpool 1-0, which is expected. But I'm in an optimistic mood. You?
I mean, we're recording this pre-Middlesbrough FA Cup third round replay.
Yeah, that's tonight. You're going to the game?
Look,
of course.
If we win tonight, and everything has to come with an if with Tottenham at the moment, if we win tonight, there are 4 games in the next 2 weeks, and all of them have to be won without circumstance or complaints or excuse or anything. So it's Watford away at the weekend, which now looks tough. I don't care.
Very tough.
Go there and win.
Yep.
Norwich at home. It has to be a win. Then it's Southampton away in the Cup. If we win tonight, go there, get a result.
4 very, very big games here.
And then hopefully enlighten the mood. However, a few of those fixtures I've had very recently, such as Norwich and Southampton. If it comes round again, they didn't go so well.
No.
So, and Middlesbrough, obviously, the first time around.
You know what the difficulty is when a big team like you is wounded a little bit, the other team's even more up for it when you know that, you know what, these guys are not in a good state of mind right now. Let's really get in amongst them. It gives you that kind of even more impetus as a team playing against somebody that's not in form.
Yeah, I think that...
Liverpool are coming to our place in 2 weeks. I'm shitting myself already. But if you guys were coming now, I'd be like, you know what? It's an opportunity here. Let's make the most of it. So, and that's what's going to happen with Norwich.
You said that in November.
Yeah, that's true. But to be fair, at that time, we were in a bad state as well. It was just who was worse. But yeah, so it's going to be... They're all 4 are going to be difficult games. The one is the Norwich game that I think you should win. The others, if they go the other way, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he's going to play kids tonight.
I mean, right now... I'm very concerned about the Watford fixture.
Yeah.
I tend to, in my mentality-wise, I am very much next game. But for the purpose of this podcast, I'm trying to think about Watford for Saturday. I'm nervous about that. No question at all. And having watched them at Bournemouth on Sunday, I thought they were excellent. The one thing they have throughout, particularly the spine of the team, is that power. They've got pace now in the flanks with Delafeu and Sarr. There's concerns. No doubt about it. But... just remove all that and say, turn up, fight, win the second balls, then go and play your football, and we should be able to do some damage. Irrespective of all these injury problems, stop making excuses. Get on with it.
Yep. Couldn't agree with you more. Do you think you'll win, though?
No.
It's a shame to be.
I think Watford.
Not
I think
optimistic.
Watford Tottenham Saturday's probably got draw written all over it.
Do you think so?
Actually, yeah, I would say.
What about the transfer market? Any interesting news on any players that are coming in at the moment for you guys?
So we believe announcement, and it could be even before this podcast is released, a confirmation, we presume, of a loan signing, Gedson Fernandes.
Yep.
From
18
Benfica.
months is what
18-month loan, 21-year-old midfielder, very comfortable on the ball. Often too comfortable, I'm told from sources, in terms of he tends to overdo it a little bit. The problem with these guys is I can't sit here and pretend I've ever seen him play live. You go and look at a few clips on YouTube and he looks like the best midfielder on the planet. I think that's the same mistake a lot of people made with Ndombele. That said, I saw Ndombele play for Lyon at Manchester City very early in the Champions League last season, and he was unbelievable. And I thought, there's a player. With Fernandes, he doesn't solve the immediate problem for Tottenham, from what I'm reading between the lines, which is...
Is he a defensive midfielder or an attacking midfielder or box-to-box?
Be more of an attacking.
Yeah.
More of attacking. Technically, etc., doesn't really look like he fits the profile of a Mourinho player. Has he changed? Is he going to play expansive football?
Well, why are you signing him then? Do you know what the strategy is around him?
Well,
is it
I
18 months
think
with a view to buy it?
It's 18 months with a view to buy for 55 million. These deals are these loans.
Because we were looking at Fernandes. I didn't know it was that expensive. I thought it was a 20 to 30 million pound.
I mean, West Ham have now said that they never had any interest in the player, which I suggest is probably more off the back of you're now not getting the player. Are you okay there, Suj?
Yeah. Just checking the levels on the microphone so that people can hear me. I felt I was a bit quiet.
The rumour was that you were going to do an 18-month loan as well with a view to buy for 33 million.
Right, okay.
And at which point I think Benfica were quite happy to
take the extra 22 million.
But obviously Spurs had done a year's loan for Lo Celso. Now the script with Lo Celso was very much that doing a loan rather than an immediate purchase actually stitched Paris Saint-Germain up a lot of sell-on value for whatever the clause was for his move previously to Betis. Lo Celso can be signed by Spurs this month for a discount on what the promised price is. So the only obligation to buy on Lo Celso for the agreed similar fee, 55 odd or something. The only obligation on that to buy, I understand, was if we finish top 4. Then it was has to be done. Now that's not going to happen. But I believe there is. It's very noticeable that Lo Celso has been quite prominent on Spurs' Twitter feed with certain things very recently. I would suggest that's a build to a confirmation of a permanent transfer. It looks like this Fernandes deal is happening. Is extra bodies in midfield? It doesn't solve the lack of no striker in the squad. It doesn't solve the problem of no holding midfield player in the squad. It doesn't solve the gaping hole of lack of quality in the fullback positions, emphasised again, having watched the two that play for Liverpool on Saturday at White Hart Lane. So I don't really see where this Fernandes transfer fits in with where we're trying to go. But I'm not going to complain about an extra body coming in through the door. We give the kid a chance.
Yeah, whilst it's on loan, sure. I mean, if you're coughing up 55 million for him, then that's a bit different.
Spurs ain't going to do that on a hit without some sort of assurance of what they're getting, I think.
No, I suppose, especially after Ndombele. What about going the other way? Any news on Christian Eriksen moving on? Still up in the air?
Christian Eriksen, we believe, is probably likely to go to Inter Milan this month. I would be quite pleased to get that done, over and done with. Just get him out of the club, unfortunately. It's a real shame what's happened now. But I have to say, a lot of Spurs fans who think that he's not putting the effort in, I'd say Christian Eriksen ain't put the effort in for the 6 odd years he's been with us. Shadow boxing, I told you all the time, he's very good at that. He's now been played in a position in central midfield recently where he has to tackle. So he's playing in a deeper position where it shows up more, where he's going physically against people like Wijnaldum or Henderson, and it shows up more. Christian Eriksen hasn't made a proper tackle for Spurs in 6 years. Where he always got away with it was you'd go, we'll give him the ball and the quality will come. That seems to, I think, on confidence, for whatever reason, that's gone. I think it's a shame for him. With respect to Inter Milan, he's not going to get the move that he'd originally desired. I don't think this is it. But Inter Milan are putting a real challenge on to
top of the table at the moment.
Serie A this season, with Antonio Conte in charge. They look like they're a progressive football club at the moment. He was looking for Madrid or Barcelona, wasn't he? But he ain't good enough. Even the peak Eriksen was not good enough to play for those two teams, in my opinion. It's a shame that he's going to leave with a sour taste, but I would prefer to remember the excellence of what I've seen for the majority of the last 6 years or so.
It's funny, you mentioned Inter Milan and progressive in the same sentence. Shame their fans are a little bit more progressive-minded, but separate conversation.
That possibly brings on the something else I do want to cover.
Oh, you did want to cover something else as well. Yeah, let's do that before we talk about West Ham.
The Antonio Rudiger incident at Tottenham on the 22nd of December in Chelsea's 2-0 win was obviously very widely reported.
Yep.
I think the majority of people would have watched the game, seen Rüdiger sort of instigate these monkey gestures in terms of he believed he was getting racist chanting or monkey noise or whatever. So I came that after the game, some of the listeners remember, straight back here to record with you.
Yes.
So I hadn't seen much of the footage. Literally just my experience in the ground at the time. I could tell straight away what he was insinuating had happened. And I said to you truthfully then, I never heard nothing.
Yep.
Certainly wasn't any mass chanting.
No.
But if anybody had done that,
Idiot.
get out of my football club. Like,
Yep,
seriously.
of course.
Because it tarnishes. You got dickheads like Oliver Holt from the Daily Mail, who, I'm not sure if he's a Chelsea fan, but he bloody acts like one, who is constantly sticking a needle in about Tottenham, and Tottenham haven't done enough to look into this, etc., etc. Let me tell you, with Tottenham's current security system, which with the new stadium, nobody should have a better one. If there was any noise, it would have only come from one area of the ground, which is below me in the east lower, or in the very bottom of the south in the east corner. It's the only place it could have come from.
But based on what? Sorry, so based on where Rüdiger
Based on
was,
what he would have heard.
Okay,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
he would have only heard, that's the side of the pitch that he was
If
on.
someone said it in the northwest corner,
He ain't gonna
that's
hear
just
it.
one idiot, then you would know about it.
Of course.
If one single person had done, say, what the Man City fan did to, I think it was to Fred, wasn't it, in the Manchester derby, it's clear as day, you're going to pick that up. If one single individual, I believe, had shouted something, I believe one of two things would happen. One, Spurs would have found them. Two, I would like to believe and hope that it would have been self-policed by Tottenham fans in the ground. I know factually, from listening to Davey Alfie Ward, who's occasionally on the Fighting Cock, that he was in the ground and a Spurs fan racially abused Serge Aurier in the Champions League game against Olympiacos just after Mourinho took over, and basically the fans threw him out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to believe that it would be self-policed. What I think has happened here, and this is my opinion, is I think that Rüdiger, and there's no blame on Rüdiger, I think Rüdiger has misheard something and has done the correct thing in reporting it because he believes that he's been racially abused. I'm not for a second suggesting that he's made this up. There's no reason for him to do such a thing.
No.
Especially, winning the game 2-0. I had a conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago. Did we ever think we could get into an awful enough position that somebody would be losing a game 3-0 and thinks, oh, I'll pretend I got racist abuse? Now, you've got to pray to God.
It's not going to happen.
There's no way that could happen,
it's
surely.
Just not at the top levels of English football. It's not going to happen.
So I absolutely believe that Antonio Rudiger believes he was racially abused.
Mm-hmm.
I believe what he heard was cheat.
Okay.
And he misheard that for something else.
Well, yeah, I mean, the investigation took place, no evidence was found, and we move on, right? At that point, what else is there? But so do you feel as a Spurs fan that Spurs are getting negative press because of it, that they didn't do enough?
You've got like people like this idiot Holt, and I'm sure
it's one person in the press.
I'm sure he works for the Daily Mail. If he doesn't work for the Daily Mail, then the Daily Mail anyway, right? With the way they report things on. And yeah, exactly. Them and how they report like Raheem Sterling and stuff. Yeah. There was a fan that was that got thrown out of that football match for racial abuse, and it was a Chelsea fan for racially abusing Son, which that seems to be a common theme.
It's too common
where
with
people
some.
think, like that for whatever reason, that's become a really easy.
Same at what happened at West Ham. What I told you.
There's no excuse for racism. I believe to close, and it's worth saying, like the Metropolitan Police have said, close the case.
Yeah.
It's not Tottenham saying we can't find nothing. The police are involved. The police can't find nothing.
Okay, so let me take a different...
Tottenham wanted to find someone and make an example of them. Think of all the stuff back to the Y word when we did the special on racism.
Yeah.
And I said how they banned 4 fans. How do you ban 4 fans when it's 20,000 shouting the Y word because they wanted to make an example of people? Tottenham wanted to find this guy. I'm absolutely certain of that.
So I don't know what was done and what wasn't done in the investigation. I, as a neutral, take it as they did an investigation, they didn't find anything, and they would have done as good a job as they possibly can. You know what I found interesting about the situation was the day it was announced was like, take TalkSport, for example, that I was listening to. The angle that they took on that story, and it was Jim Smith's programme that it was on, was all about how Rüdiger is going to get tarred with the brush of having made this allegation that was untrue, as opposed to anything else. So they were taking it from that point. It was like, of all the strange angles to have on the story, why are you leading with, is Rüdiger now going to get tarred with this brush?
There's no.
What the fuck's it got to do with that?
There's no way I believe for 1 second that Rüdiger lied or made it up. I believe he thought he heard what he heard.
The angle on the story is that the situation happened, the player did the right thing, the club and the police did the right thing, and in this situation, nothing happened, let's move on. as opposed to you didn't do a good job. You're a player that's just going to call racism when it's not there. This, that, and that. Why does everyone need to point the finger at anyone for anything? It's just, I feel for the guy. Obviously, if he felt in the moment, he might have been quite upset about it. But I do. As a neutral, I trust the police and Spurs have done a good investigation, and I think he thought he heard what he heard. And I don't know if I'll be honest with you. You're talking about stewarding and security at Spurs being shit hot because of the new stadium. We're in a relatively new stadium. It's average, bang average. The quality of the security checks is bang average at West Ham. Do you have bag checks and stuff as you go through?
We have to go through like airport security.
Yeah, we don't have.
We have them at West Ham as well.
The guys with metal scanners, but not like things to go through. But if I'm with my son, for example, my son will be in front of me. They would just stick his arms up, smile at the guy, and wave him straight through. He's got his rucksack with all sorts of like. If I had a bottle of water, they'll take the cap off, and I can't take the cap through. If it's in my son's bag, they don't give a monkeys.
See these little bottles of water.
Yeah.
And I'm aiming it at the
YouTube fans.
Here,
yeah,
right?
A little Evian.
I get into Tottenham with one of these every game without fail.
But do you see people having their caps taken off or not?
I just
because they do it as they take the caps off.
I haven't been body searched at Tottenham since probably the first couple of games.
Okay.
I think one of the reasons for that might be that I tend to go in the ground relatively early.
Yep.
I think another reason is I generally go into the ground on my own and then meet my parents once I'm in there.
Yep.
And I do all the right things in
Smile
terms
at the
of
person. How are you?
I already have my vape out. So it's like, don't check me. My vape's here.
Yeah.
And I'll have my coats open, even if it's freezing cold. And then as soon as I walk through the airport security, I'll put my arms out as if to say, go on then.
Go on then, yeah.
And then generally I get the, you're
off you
all right.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same for me.
He's got quite lax as well.
Yeah.
No one from Spurs is watching or listening because I'm not getting me water in anymore.
Yeah, it's annoying because even when you buy water inside at £2.50 a bottle, they take the bloody cap off.
Water in the ground.
It's ridiculous. So. Yeah, you wait till you take Harry and he's like, Dad, I'm thirsty, and you've got no choice. The
reason for taking water in the ground, if anyone's like, well, you have a beer or whatever, is sore throat a little bit during games. Sometimes and you can't take beer to your seats, right? You need something in your seat.
100%, you do. Q&N. West Ham Friday night against Sheffield United. I enjoyed the game and the performance, and I felt like ultimately, are we making progress? Yes. Could we have capitulated worse under Pellegrini in the way that we played? Yes. There was a few things that I didn't like. Obviously, I don't really understand the
VAR.
Well, forget about VAR. But Lanzini still needs to do better. I don't think
What's going on with
he's
him?
that good. He's just not ever got back to his full self after he had that horrible injury.
Yeah, I agree.
Masuaku, I'm confused a little by the choice. I don't know why he was selecting him, but Moyes did like him last time he was here, so maybe he's a little favourite. And then obviously the disappointment of losing Fabianski that was confirmed yesterday. He's only out for a couple of weeks. So it could be worse, let's put it that way. I thought, you know what, defensively we're starting to get more solid. We were good in the first half, passed the ball around well. There's something missing in the final third, though. Something really missing in the final third. And for me, the answer will be playing Felipe Anderson as a out-and-out number 10, do what you want to do in much the same way that he did in the Bournemouth game. When he's given that freedom and flexibility to play centrally and get close to a striker, so much better. As soon as you put him out wide, get him tracking back, and he's quite good at tracking back and defending, but you're not using the right player in the right way. Him in that number 10 role, close to Haller, is actually what I think we really need. And we're making progress under Moyes. We are making progress under Moyes.
The only thing with Anderson at 10, which would put me off, I feel like he's one of those players who likes to see the game.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be receiving it back to goal and then turning.
No.
I think that's why in a wide position he receives it. He's very sort of close control, look up and then assesses his options. And quite often with Anderson, he will choose the simple option quite often, where it be a sideways or a backwards pass. But I think he likes to feel and see the game. Eriksen's another player like that, actually, who, when he's played at 10, has never really done the business because he's not a runner in behind. He doesn't have the ability to, I've said in the past, like he can't turn like Lamela in terms of the way Lamela receives the ball in that position. And creativity, if you think of, I suppose, the best of Eriksen would be those kind of inside channels, the sort of positions that De Bruyne picks up, where he can really deliver killing passes.
The thing with Anderson is that in the games that he's really done damage, it's quite often in the last 15 to 20 minutes when we're attacking on the counter, and he does pick it up deep and run at people because he's got pace. He really has, and his control is very good. And it worked so well against Bournemouth. So I think Moyes needs to get back to that. I feel like we set up in that formation to counteract Sheffield United a little bit. Masuaku giving Cresswell a little bit more cover potentially on that side. So, and look, as much as most Sheffield United fans will say they deserve to win, looking at the game, I think a draw would have been a fair result. Had Fabianski stayed on for the entire 90 minutes, we'd have stood a better chance. Sheffield United they were much better in the first half an hour of the second half. And that's what they're using as justification for winning the game. Like, you can't disregard the first half because you were bad at it and just say, well, we were better for that 30 minutes, therefore we deserve to win the game. We had chances. Lanzini hit the post.
I can't look at Spurs on Saturday and go, we were better for the last 5 minutes and claim it. No,
unfortunately not. It doesn't work like that. So all in all, I would have taken a draw. And yeah, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy with the result. I'm looking forward to seeing what this game against Everton is going to be. Very, very interesting.
Can you, because I think this is more an appropriate time to do it than the main pod where we just pushed it aside, can you talk about the VAR moment?
Do we have to?
We don't have to.
Look, it hurts. Obviously, it hurts. Everybody who has spoken about it has said the right thing, i.e., the rule, the problems of handball rule, not the VAR.
Oh, and in this case, it's not VAR.
No, it's not VAR. It's the rule, 100%. But then, like, Declan Rice's points are very valid. Like, where's he supposed to put his arm? And it's not like the guys hit the ball onto his arm. You know the Champions League final where you talked about your opinion was that Mane played for that penalty
against Sissoko, yes.
Yeah. So if that's the case, are we going to see more of that where people are going to try and play for it a little bit or that kind of thing?
I think that one with Sissoko was such a rare case because at the time I spoke about the fact that Sissoko had his arm out for such a long period of time. It wasn't like he kind of pointed and was bending his elbow back in to say, go this way. He was like that for a long time. And by the point that Mane was stationary and was looking up, Sissoko's still got his arm out.
Is he then trying to hail a taxi or something?
He's going to aim for it.
Yeah.
And at that point, if the ball was to hit his arm is not in a natural position. Mane, in that occasion, had the right to try that.
There's a lot of inconsistency around this. And from it hitting his arm to him breaking through a few players to playing a through ball to a great finish by Snodgrass, so much has happened. Like, I've got nothing to say on it really, other than it is what it is.
It is a horrendous rule, and I think it will get changed.
The thing is, and so Sheffield United's point of view on this is now, well, we had a few go against us, so deal with it. But at the time few were going against them, they're not saying, well, you know what, it will right itself further down the line. So I think that fans have to be careful, be consistent with your opinion. It's either it's bad for everyone and you feel bad about it, or you can't have it, well, when it goes for you, oh well, tough kind of thing. You know, just be consistent with it. It was disappointing, and you can see the pain. You've criticised.
I just want to know how long you were celebrating for. That's what the listeners want to know. Yeah.
Probably about, well, I did celebrate, yeah, because 92 minutes, mate. That's the worst of all situations.
There are certain goals where it comes up VAR check, and I just instantly I go, oh, you're like you know, it's nothing to do with my team. I'm like, oh, go away, seriously. I was one Sunday, Pereira's Watford's third goal at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
You know, did it glance his arm? Like, he's chested it out of the air and volleyed it in to finish the game. It's got no impact on the game anyway. Watford have won the game, and you want to just stop it, man. It's a goal. However, when I saw all your lot trying to run on the pitch and that, I did laugh.
Well, look, this is the problem, though, isn't it?
But it is a problem. Why
are we celebrating VAR? I just don't want to celebrate VAR. Like you saw Dean Henderson's tweet afterwards.
Fans are doing it. Even with anybody who watched their game on Sunday,
Yeah.
they're doing it for every goal now. Doing it before the kickoff, because they've been done over. They're obviously with the Sterling goal in the
It's not
quarter-final.
good for football at all. You've criticised Declan Rice for his candidness in post-match interviews.
I do think he needs some PR work.
Well,
I really do.
this time round, when he came on, you saw his comments after the game. He literally said, "Look, there are no Premier League players that want VAR. We don't want it in the game."
Now,
And
that
the fact
spoke
that he
volumes.
said that,
Yeah.
I'm like, say what you think, mate, because in that situation, I'm happy that he was candid. And he goes, "Look, none of us players want it. It's just horrible, and it's killing the emotion."
There are certain things where, if we can get that now, if we can get player support, so I think now we've got like.
Well, he said it.
The fans who are going to games are like, this can't happen, because whether you think VAR is right or wrong, it's killing the emotion of the football fan celebrating goals. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
The more important than anything, that you're telling me that football fans are getting scared to celebrate goals. There was one at Norwich the other way. I mean, it was Cantwell's goal against Palace, maybe, and you could tell they were so frightened. It was like yay.
Yeah.
That can't be the case.
can't
They're
be.
fighting for their lives.
Yeah,
right?
you're looking at Moisey, right? He's running down the touchline, jumping up and down. I want to see that in my manager.
And I know there's gonna be listeners who are listening or screaming at the video or whatever and saying, yeah, but they're making the right decisions or whatever. I'm trying to swear a lot less on these podcasts these days. I'm telling you, right? Stop killing the emotion of football. I can't repeat myself like so many times.
You'd rather
over.
take the odd wrong decision
Is
than,
it that
than this.
important that like Pookie's bollock hair is like a grain offside or something?
It's
Stop
mental,
it. Stop
mental,
it.
absolutely mental. The only other thing I wanted to touch on, I mentioned it in the main pod, was our friend at GNev2 made a comment after the game as well. Because one of the other things Ricey said was that it would have been a good away point for us. And Gary Neville went on to say that he thought that was the wrong mentality for West Ham, and that goes to show the issue with the mentality within the club. I don't think so at all. I think if you look at it on the merits of the situation where we're 17th or 16th, and these guys are 5th, have been playing incredibly well. We have a new manager. We lose our goalkeeper after 13 minutes. I would have taken a draw before the game all day long. You can't set your expectations on where you want to be. You have to set your expectations on where you are now. I want to be a Champions League club. Doesn't mean week in, week out we're going to be beating the likes of Chelsea and Tottenham and Arsenal. That's in the future. We set our expectations on where we are now. And right here, right now, an away draw at Sheffield United would have been a great result for us.
Yeah, and you have to respect Sheffield United's position, right?
Yeah, they're not there by chance. They're there because they deserve to be
I
there.
said this last week. Stop thinking of them as
Yeah.
promoted Sheffield United. Think of them as what they are, a top half side.
I knew it was going to be a tough
What
game.
I would say is, because I've been critical of Rice for very similar comments in the past. Now, I criticised him after a draw at Aston Villa.
Yeah, but I think Villa's
roundabouts
different. Villa,
game
he
week
shouldn't have said
5
that.
or
Villa,
game
we
week
should have
6.
won because we were playing well then. We
And
were
at the time,
5th at the time.
The build up to that game was like, well, can West Ham actually push to top 6?
Yeah.
So I understand. I also
You
said
set your
before this
expectations
game,
on where you
a
are
draw
right
would
now.
be all right in your circumstances
Yeah.
right now, with Everton at home to come afterwards. Before you've got, all right, the game in hand is, you might as well write it off. But it is a game in hand you've got, and then on the other side of that, you've got Brighton at home as well.
Yeah.
Under the circumstances, it was, yes, a point would have been a good result at Sheffield United.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's West Ham fans that don't think like me and that think we should be aiming higher. I just think it needs to be
don't
realistic.
think you should go into that game thinking like we don't
have
want
to
to win
win.
the game.
Yeah.
But just, if it levels out at the end of that
Take
particular
it.
fixture,
Take it.
then yeah, I'm sure you don't ever come to Spurs thinking we're not going to try and win this game.
No.
And other than maybe that fixture at Wembley when you were in a bad shape the other year and you really did put your backs up to the wall and stuff. But generally, you'll
Give it a go.
You'll sit back, you'll counter attack. I think you're trying to win the game, but when it's said and done, it's probably a game where you go, we'll take a point here.
Yeah, quite often. Yeah. So there we go. A little bit of this, that, and the other in this Tottenham. We've had a bit of racism, bit of VAR, bit of
flu and
yeah.
you buy any players.
Darren Randolph, Touchwood goalkeeper. That's all we need right now is to get Darren Randolph in or a goalkeeper. There's a few out there, and we do need a striker because just having Haller up there, Antonio is so unreliable with fitness right now. So yeah, no news on a striker, but Darren Randolph I don't know. It's been talked about plenty, but it just hasn't happened yet.
All right, moving on.
There we go. Thank you for listening to Tot&HAM this Tuesday. We're back at you tomorrow with Sky Fantasy Football, followed by Clash of the Correspondents, Liverpool and Manchester United on Thursday. And we had a few technical issues on that one, but we'll figure that out.
Oh, I'm having some fun with the edit for that, I can tell you.
And then the final plan on Friday, where we'll run down our final transfers before the deadline. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.